Have you ever wondered to yourself, why the heck is a car company continue to make the same car for what feels like 50 years? Well, this time on Low Boost, we're going to go over the perfect amount of time a car manufacturer should make a generation of a car. What's up, bro? You should come check out my new 370Z I just got. What do you mean by new? They've been making this same car since 2008.
Dude, it's brand new. I just bought it off the lot. Has 0 miles on it.
Yeah, you bought a 12-year-old new car. I really feel compelled to make this video because I want car manufacturers to see that we don't want them canceling a car or stop making a car. We just want you to make a new car. So Chrysler, if you're out there, we didn't want you to stop making Challengers. We just wanted you to maybe make a new one. By now, most of you guys know the usual offenders I'm talking about here. It is Chrysler that has made the Challenger from 2008 to 2023, where it sounds like they're going to stop making the cars from. The Nissan 370Z, which has been made from 2008, 2009 until now. And the Nissan GTR also been made from like 2009 until now. And you know, if you guys are on the same page as me, that is almost twice as long as it should be for a generation of a car should last. Cars have a life cycle, and sometimes the generations of these cars don't last long enough. Personally, I think the generation of car that was so short-lived and probably is one of the best BMWs ever made was the BMW E39 M5. They only made it for like 4 years, and you really should have made that car for 8. Hell, you should remake that car and make it out today, because that's how great that car is. There are a bunch of cars that just are made for far too long, but I'm going to go over with you guys the amount of time that I think is the perfect age gap for generations. Chevrolet made the C5 Corvette from 1997 to 2004. That's about 7 years of production for a car. It's not 10 years where people really feel that the model is stale and in need of an update, but it's not too soon where people didn't feel like they didn't even get a chance to buy the car. Then you look at the C6 Corvette, and they made that car from 2005 to 2013. Also a really decent amount of time. And Chevrolet definitely made the mistake prior to this by making a car for a way too long of a generation itself in the C4 Corvette. They made that car from, well, there really was only one 1983 ever made in production. So 1984 to 1996, which I think is way too long to have a production car last. Even though they made a bunch of facelifts in between, really was kind of too long. BMW now does a great job with their car generations. If you look at the E46 M3, the E92 M3, the F80 M3, all lasted between 5 and 7, maybe 8 years. And that's a really good amount of time. That not only gives people ample amount of time to order and buy the car that might be the car of their dreams, but it also allows enough time to allow for mid-model refreshes, which BMW likes to call LCI. So the first half of a car's generation they call it the pre-LCI. And then the second half of a car's generation, they make minor facelifts. Sometimes they update the engine like they did with the 335 with the F30s, which the first half of those cars, the pre-LCI cars had N55 engines, and the second half of those cars had B58 engines. That's a really nice facelift update. Having the mid-model refresh really brings more life to the car, but it's not like they're doing it again, whereas people are asking for a new one. The other car company that does a really great job at this is Porsche. This might piss off some of you purists out there, but since Porsche actually went with the times and went with water-cooled engines instead of air-cooled, they actually have done a really good job at segmenting their generations. Whereas they had the 996.1, and then they refreshed the 996-911 model, and now they call it the 996.2. And they've done this with every 911 since. 997.1, 997.2. They have mid-model refreshes for the 991, and now they'll probably have them for the 992 as well. This is a really great way to segment the cars. You're not making them for too long. whereas people really think you're buying a super it car but brand new, which they're just selling a 10-year-old car for full price or even more. But it gives them it gives the engineers enough time to develop a new car that's going to be great as well. Another classic example of a car that was made for way too long was my old Maserati Gran Turismo. I had a 2009 Maserati Gran Turismo GTS. It was great. Had a 4.7 liter dual overhead cam, V8 that was derived from the Ferrari F430, but it had a higher displacement at 4.7 liters instead of 4.3. It was the only year they had the Ferrari 599 GTB transmission, and I felt like that car was one of the most beautiful cars that were ever made. But they made this car generation from 2008 until 2020, and they haven't come out with a replacement since. Because they kept on leaning on making the same car for so long. I don't know what they were doing. They clearly weren't trying to engineer anything new, and people just kept buying newer models year over year, less and less frequently, and it kind of killed that for the brand. And I really think the longer a car generation lasts, the higher the likelihood that there will not be a new generation going forward. So car companies, if you are out there, hear my plea. Please, only make a car generation last between 7 and 8 years. That is the perfect amount of time to give you guys enough time to build a new generation out and enough time for you to make money on the generation that you're currently in. But it also doesn't let us feel like the model and the brand has become too stagnant and people will start moving away from it. So that is my plea to you. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you think I'm crazy, do you think the 12-year generation for a car is perfect, or you think a 4-year generation is better? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Make sure you guys hit the like button. I know everybody says it, but it actually helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. It lets YouTube know that other people should be watching this video as well. Also, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I put out a video almost every week about cars, whether I'm talking about stuff like this, reviewing a new model car, vlogging a video that I have that I'm working on one of my project cars. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.